Happy Thursday, beautiful people.
Okay, we made it through a week.
We made it through a whole 7 days of foolishness.
And it keeps getting foolisher
thus far.
I know that's
and
not
it
a
ain't,
word, but
and it ain't got as foolishness as it's finna get.
That's, oops.
Foolish initiated. Anyway, we'll get into that. I also want to say, if I offended anyone last week with some of the comments that I made, I'm sorry, not sorry. Like I'm sorry if you were right.
Did somebody say that to you?
No, but my pastor was like, we gotta try and be unified. No one said anything. I'm just saying, like, if you was in a car with your kids and they heard some things you maybe didn't want them to hear, then I feel bad. But I actually do stand 10 toes down on everything I said. So I'm like, it's not like an apology of like, I'm so sorry I said that. Not at all. I'm just sorry if it came out in the context.
I think people's kids have seen the president-elect doing much worse than what you said.
Whatever. It's just my offering. You don't have to receive it. If it don't apply to you, if you was like, Jess, you was on it. I just wanted, if you felt some type of way,
that was nice.
I'm just trying to be a better human.
Okay. Good.
I still stand 10 toes down on everything I said. I'm just saying, if it was an inappropriate place, space, or time, so sorry, but also sorry, not sorry. Anyway, tonight is all about self-care. And I know we're not talking about like the spa type. We're talking about after the events of last week in the North Americas, or it's just the North Americas. I had said the Americas, but then I said there are other Americas. And that's not their God-given name, but we don't have time to get into that because, real history is banned now. But if you've been on social media in this past 7 days and you're taking your cues from Black women, as you should, because everyone should be taking their cues from Black women. Even Trevor Noah said that, bless his heart, love him dearly.
You're going to cheat?
No, I'm just holding it. We're focusing on self-care, okay? I don't know if y'all know. The bulletin is out. You've probably seen many Black women all over. And Black men. Shout out to the Black men that came through for us, huh? We off that, okay? We're off that. And so self-care is the mood, the agenda, all the things, okay? Worry about you. Worry about you and yours. Okay,
and it's part of my self-care.
Worry about you and yours, okay? And so, particularly with Black women, particularly with Black people, self-care, we like to say the words. We sometimes don't all the time know what it means, but we like to say it. It sounds cute, but we like to do a lot of lip service to it. But the execution part, sometimes it don't be going together, okay? But that requires a little bit of accountability. Okay, so if you got self-care, you need self-care, execution, accountability is the bridge that meets the two. Okay, so I bet you never even thought those things were connected to begin with. All right, and we've been thinking about that this week, and we wanted you to come on a journey with us as we thinking about it. Okay, because we're worried about us. Okay, us, ours, and no more. Okay, unless you melanated. Okay, you came through for us. Not the people who were like, who's that man that was like, the MAGA family came on and told me I would never be a part of the MAGA family, even though I voted for Trump. He was a Black man. And to that we said, oh, hell well. Okay? Not thank you. Oh, hell well. So anyway, if you would like to join us about the musings of not paying lip service self-care, but actually doing the execution through accountability, then you should stick around because the episode is for you.
Hi, I'm Pam Williams, a mother.
And I'm Jessica E. Williams, a daughter. And this is a mother and a daughter truthful chat, where we discuss our 35-year multi-layered relationship.
We've been through so many ups and downs. Not only are we family, but we're business partners in the high-stress world of event planning and production for short films.
We've also shared the same therapist for over 10 years. What some people call codependence, we call collaboration.
So join us as we share stories from our lives,
have candid conversations with other mother-daughter duos,
and shed light on the roller coaster ride of being a woman while raising a woman.
Right, y'all, mugs up.
We sipped a little early. Well, I sipped a little early today because my throat is scratchy.
I always sip to hydrate and coat my throat prior to. but sometimes we be forgetting. So I was like, nope, I'm not cheating. I'm just holding my cup. Anyway.
Cups up. What are you drinking?
Moringa tea. I am really trying to fight said inflammation in my body. So I think moringa is good for that. And it also just calms my nervous system. I'm sure there's some other benefits, but
I have moringa tea and turmeric glow together.
Why didn't you give me no turmeric glow though?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Rude. See, but that's self-care and practice. I was worried about me. I was thinking about me. I was not thinking about
the turmeric helps with the inflammation, and my inflammation is worse than yours most of the time. But anyway, here we are.
Welcome to Truthful Chats. If you're just now joining us for the first time ever, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're an OG, salute to you. We love you. Thank you for coming back every week so that we could talk to you about the things. Truthful Chats is our weekly podcast series that we do under our umbrella, which is Create Generational Wellness, which is like the idea, the motto, what we want out of life. Okay. And at Create Generational Wellness, if you've never heard that term before and you're like, that is so cute. Thank you. It's ours. So you've probably never heard it before. And if you hear anybody using it and it has nothing to do with Create Generational Wellness or Truthful Chats or Pam and Jess or whatever, I politely ask that you nuck if you buck. Okay. Credit Black women for things that Black women come up with. That's all we're asking. So Create Generational Wellness, there is a description somewhere below wherever you're watching this video. And at Create Generational Wellness, we have a theme every month. Truthful Chats is where we unpack the theme of the month weekly. And it's November. 2024 is on its way out of here, thank God. Is it just me or am I over it? I feel like, you know how there are some years that just fly by? 2024 kind of just like is out, staying is welcome a little bit. Like it's just like... It's just been here a little too long. Now, that being said, I have no idea what 2025 is getting ready to bring. So it's like in a limbo phase. Like, oh, I really want 2024 to be over, but like 2025 could be the end of life as we know it. So I don't know. Anyway.
You should introduce our guests.
Yes, I'm talking loudly in general, but if you see this baby right here, to my left, your right, if you're watching in the audience land, pay no attention to that laundry basket, but this is my baby. This is my doggy nephew, Oliver. So I am babysitting him for...
He's snoring really loudly.
Almost a week. He's snoring very loudly.
So we thought we better say something
so if you hear him snoring, but he is the cutest, most adorable baby in the world. And he ran very, very hard and played very, very hard with his good friend today. So he's quite knocked out. So if you hear snoring in the background, that's not us. That's Oliver.
We're not wheezing.
He snores like a grown adult male. So anyway, it's November. Happy holidays. We're gonna do Thanksgiving. Some of y'all be really trying to skip to Christmas. Don't disrespect the natives. At least, okay. This might be the last Thanksgiving we've ever had in the Americas. So just
as we know it,
don't be rude.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So just don't skip to Christmas. Respect the natives. Let's practice gratitude for something. Okay. Because we don't know what 2025 is going to bring. So November is the month. Accountability. Accountability is the theme. And today's chat is accountability and caring for you. It's accountability and caring for you. Okay. We really speaking to Black women because why not? We're all very good at taking care of other people. So, we just want to make sure that the pendulum swings the other way. And making sure that, especially now, okay, because we try to care about everybody else, and they was like, what? Like this one girl said on Instagram, she said, y'all did this to spite us. Like that's part of white supremacy. It's like you not white, but you think you can come over here as the model minority or whatever it is. That I'm not really with them. It's all to spite Black Americans. It's whatever Black Americans built, y'all benefit from. Y'all getting reparations. We don't have none. Y'all building dynamic, incredible houses and monstrosity castles with money and things and resources that really belong to us. So that being said, Black women, it's time for us to care about ourselves. And Black men that showed up and showed out, it's time for us to care about ourselves. So let's get it going.
Yeah, so I'm old enough to remember, I think, especially in Black communities, I'm old enough to remember when self-care was not a thing. Like
not a thing.
Nobody talked about, oh, you're not taking care of yourself. Please. That
she grew up in the 80s. Well, not she grew up. She was coming of age in the 80s.
No, I wasn't. I was coming of age.
You was becoming a young woman and look now.
Girl, I got married in the 80s. I was coming of age in the 60s and the 70s. I was coming of age.
Well, you be the one talking about we was Sex in the City before Sex in the City. We was living
That
single
was-
before living single.
Yeah, but that wasn't.
So
When
it
I
was
think
70s.
of coming of age,
she decided to stop being for the streets in the 80s. That's what it was.
listen, when I think
She's
of coming
for
of
the
age,
streets.
I think like teenage years coming of age.
Oh, okay. I think you can come of age in multiple settings. You come of age as a teenager, but then when you are out of your parents' house and living in New York and living your Sex in the City, living single dreams.
Yeah, well, that was a different coming of age.
That's what I'm trying to say.
But
go ahead.
By then, we started thinking about self-care. I'm talking about when I was growing up, listening to my parents, listening to my,
people,
you know,
thinking about
people were not thinking about self-care. I mean, by the time I was in my 80s, we started thinking about it a little bit.
No,
in the 80s.
We were in the 80s.
We were in the 80s.
Your
I started
80s.
thinking about it a little bit. But, you know, now when I think of self-care, the first thing my mind goes to, and most people's mind, especially Black women or women, you think of a day at the spa. For me, I think of a day at the spa at the beach resort. That's the best. Like,
that's true. We are beach people.
Yeah. So
I know some of
you
y'all
give me
are
a spa and a beach, and I'm looking out over the ocean while I'm getting my massage. Listen, that is it. That is it for me. But what we want to talk about tonight is not really just pampering yourself like that, or taking an occasional, you know, treat, or having a tea and whatever, which that's part of it too.
Which fall and winter are really good for those kind of things.
Yeah.
So break out the sweaters, the fall fashions, the hot cocos.
My cup is even a sweater.
Pumpkin spice latte people, sure. But you know, it's all things warming your soul, warming your energy.
So we really want to talk about the deliberate practice of taking care of your physical, mental, and emotional health. And that can look very different for different individuals on a different basis. What might look like self-care to you might be driving me crazy. You know how we used to go to
it's very individual.
Remember we used to go, before they closed down, we used to go to the bath?
It was this place called Just Float in Pasadena, which was very cool. And it
very
was
sensory though.
You just submerge yourself in water for like
about 11 inches of salt water.
An hour? Yeah. 45 minutes, something like that.
And you could turn off all the lights. You could have no
music. It's very relaxing. Now, some people do freak out. Yeah. Not me, but it's like, it is a very, you know, you by yourself in a water chamber, like no one else. So, you know, depending on what you've been, the lights dim slowly. So depending on what you go through or what you've been through, or if you fear death or phobias, being in the coffin, like it did a lot.
You can leave the lights on and the music on if you want to,
but
you don't have to.
But anyway, it was very relaxing.
For some people, it was very relaxing. And for some people, we took a couple of people and they would like freak out. They were like, oh my God, it's too quiet. It's too whatever. So again, your self-care is your self-care, whatever it looks like. But the one thing that is consistent and important about self-care is it is crucial for a number of reasons. Number one, stress management. Regular self-care practices help reduce your stress level and prevent burnout. And right now, we all could use something that can help reduce our stress level. Unless you're not stressed. And if you're not stressed now, you just wait. I'm gonna say that. If you haven't realized why you should be stressed yet, just wait.
We mean particularly in the North America.
In the North
Americas.
As the people say, we are in the find out phase. People are in the find out phase. But anyway, so improve mental health. Engaging in self-care can improve your moods, release all those good endorphins, serotonin, all dopamine, all those things are released when you do self-care, and it reduces the symptoms of your anxiety and depression. Enhance physical health. I know when I am able to do some things for self-care, like moving and my stretches and yoga and walking, it makes me feel better physically. And so that is a form of self-care. And then increase productivity. When you take time off for self-care, when you do come back and start to do the things that you're going to do, your focus is usually better. And you're usually more efficient in the things that you do, because your body has had a chance to recharge. Somebody tell me that. I used to sleep like 4 or 5 hours a night,
which sounds ridiculous.
And I did it for years. And so then people started telling me, well, a lot of reasons why. I had a baby, I was working full time, you know, your dad was on the road, I was doing like a single mom thing. So about 4 or 5 hours was
She didn't give us no context. She was just like, I was sleeping for 4 or 5 hours for years.
Yeah.
For why?
Yeah. But I was burning the candle at a lot of ends. But anyway, but when you take care better care of yourself, hopefully it'll improve the quality of your relationships as well. And so there are a lot of just very simple, plain benefits to doing this. So when you think about it, you wonder if it's so important. Why is it so hard for people to do? Why is it so hard? Why do people, despite understanding the benefits of self-care, how great you feel afterward, most of the time you feel great most of the time. We're going to talk about some things that make you not feel great. But many individuals struggle to take accountability for their own well-being. And the biggest challenge to that is your brain. Like your brain automatically is wired for immediate gratification. You want to feel good right now. It's much easier to scroll through social media for an hour than to sit down and actually plan what your week is going to look like. The benefits of accountability often come in the long term. And for some people, they're not used to long-term gratification. They can't see a long game. People can't see a long game. I'm just going to say that
long game, Shawty.
Again for the people in the back. So
no, some people did not see the long game.
They did not see the long game.
They got played.
Yep. So anyway, the benefits of accountability, might take a minute for you to see it, but it will come to pass, as they say. So, but some people don't have that capacity. Anyway, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that like, oh, they don't have that capacity. I'm just saying some people don't think about things in terms of, if I do this now, what is it going to mean later? It's a skill that you should try to acquire because it's really important, but some people just don't have it, and that's okay.
I have it. It's a gift and a curse. Also, which I had learned from Trevor Noah. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, if it kept me from doing a lot of dumb stuff, but it's also got me in trouble because, I'm the person who could tell the person that's getting ready to do, like, we sort of have a rule for me, and I've said this on the show before with my friends: don't come to me if you don't want the real answer. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you decided, like, I just want to go and figure this out, and be like, okay, but don't come ask me,
what do you think
I should do? Because if you start talking to me, I'm gonna give you, because I can play things that, like, it's almost like a That's So Raven type thing. I'm able to play that thing out and be like, well, I foresee this, and this based on what you're telling me. Now, if I tell you that you don't be held responsible or accountable for that, then don't come over here, because then I'll pretend you just decided, like, I didn't even know, like, oh, word.
In the spur of the moment.
It was just so crazy. But as a person who has that gift.
And I have it too, so it's hard for me.
We be the voice of wisdom and reason for people, but they got to be ready to receive it, or they know, like, let me not even ask them, because they're gonna tell us the truth.
It could be bad. All right, another hurdle that keeps people from doing this, when you should do it, you know this is a good thing, I should try to take care of myself or whatever, is societal pressure. Like, we live in a world that is grind hustle. Is that right?
Grind culture.
Grind culture. I meant to say capitalism. Grind culture, hustle culture, but I put them together. Grind and hustle. But anyway,
hustle and motivate.
Yeah, you want to be busy. You want to show that you're putting in work. You're doing this, and people respect you. Like, I'm on my hustle. I'm doing this. I got this going on, man. I got that. I got this. I got that.
Sounds exhausting.
So it seems sometimes like if you're taking care of yourself, you're not on your grind. You're being selfish. You're being lazy. You're being
many times
self-indulgent. You're
not a self-starter. You're not aggressive enough.
Yep. You're not motivated. You're not hustling. So you get accused.
You're not a boss. You don't care.
Yeah. So sometimes that forces people not to take care of themselves. All right. And then there's fear. Taking accountability means you can't blame anybody else for what's going wrong in your life. Like, if you take accountability for it, then it's empowering, but it's also the end of the BS, because now you can't.
We've come to the end of the road. Side note, lyrically, that song is very confusing. We don't have to talk about it now, but me and my friends, we often sing that song for karaoke, and we'd be like, what is the storyline here? What is the message here? What's happening? But anyway, go ahead. That's an end of the road moment where you'd be like, accountability, you take away all your excuses.
You take away all your excuses. And then some people are just not used to that. You just are not used to being like, yep, I did it. Yep, I take responsibility for it. Yep, I made a mistake. Yep, I should have done this differently. Yep, I'm whatever. Some people go their whole life pointing a finger at somebody else. It's somebody else's fault. You did this. You made me do this. If you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have done this, that, and the other. So
who got time for
in order to start to take accountability for yourself, you're going to have to drop that. All right. Now, the fan is good today, isn't it?
Yeah, I just got hot though now.
I know. Many people.
We be wearing these sweaters in the hot room sometimes.
Yeah. Many people, because it starts out being cool, then it gets hot, and then we're drinking tea.
It's this room.
Yeah, all right. Well, many people feel guilty about taking time for themselves, especially when they feel like other people are depending on them. It was for me. I didn't mean that for you. I meant that totally for me. Or they have a lack of self-worth, meaning they don't feel deserving of self-care or don't value themselves enough to prioritize it. I had to ask myself this question. Do you not think enough of yourself to think you need rest? That has been helping me to move into the rest space. I think mine was more the first, to feel like if, that thing I have of if I don't do this, it's not going to get done. It's not going to happen. It's not going to whatever. But, and then sometimes people just have habits that need to change. Like that is a habit I need to change. I spent many, many years because your dad is an actor and he traveled a lot and he was gone for 6 or 8 months at a time. So I had to learn how to make sure everything kept going and take care of you and take care of things.
Right. I didn't realize this.
It has to be, yeah. And so
if you can hear that was a fan. We pass it back and forth for those who are listening. But I thought I was like, I'm gonna click it, it's gonna turn off, but it had 2 more modes.
Okay. So that's a habit I realized that I had for probably 15 or 20 years of just I'm used to doing it by myself.
But that's an example of, which we also talk about on this show, that was who you needed to be for that season. Mm-hmm. But sometimes there's not that adjustment period of, I don't need to do that no more.
I don't need to do that anymore.
So I think that's a lot of times where people get into these modes where self-care feels like selfish or indulgent, or like what you might be stuck in a mode of doing some things or being a person or caretaking in a way that like is not required anymore. Yeah. But you got to do the steps to like unravel yourself from that, so you're not doing things that were good at the time. Ain't nobody judging or saying it was bad or like you did too much or whatever. It might actually been what was required at the time, but you don't need to be doing that anymore. So if you're still doing that and it's not required, then the question is, why am I still doing this thing that doesn't serve me? And what does that mean? And how can I fix it?
And again, that goes back to, what we always talk about in terms of self-awareness.
With self-care.
Yeah, self-awareness and self-care, because you have to realize I really don't have to do this anymore. So what is it in me that's making me continue to do this? That feels like I have
feels obligated to this thing, because that might not even make sense.
I'm gonna put that down as a note. I meant you talk to Tremaine about that. But anyway,
shout out to Tremaine.
You have habits that need to change, so you need to recognize them, try to see how you can do that. And then some people just have basic misconceptions about how important self-care is, especially in certain cultures and among certain generations. Like my generation before me, that's self-care. And I can hear my grandmother now on Saturday morning just getting up. I purposely would clean my room on Friday night because I didn't want her to wake me up on Saturday morning to clean up my room. And she would be like, get up. And I was like, why? I cleaned up my room. I cleaned up my room last night. I ironed the handkerchiefs. I did whatever it was that I thought she was going to have me do. I would try to do it on Friday night so I could have my Saturday morning free. See, something in me knew even then that I needed some quiet time some kind of way.
See, but stop though, because now she be like, as a mother, I should have had you cleaning on Saturday mornings. You're I don't know.
No. But you missed the first part I said. I would do my stuff early. Like I would manage my time to do my stuff early, so that I could have that time free if I wanted to.
She act like I grew up with like a full-on chore list too. Like I never had no chore list. It was just
that's like, what I'm saying. I should have had more of a chore list.
You got okay, then that's the chores thing. Like, but I'm a very responsible human being. Like I clean things. Like it's not a thing.
She doesn't like it, but she does it.
I sure don't. Yeah. I sure don't. I believe that's a ministry and a gift like other things. There are some people that gift is to clean, okay? And I should let them do it.
It is true. We remember a cleaning lady we used to have that like her that
now she was fresh out of prison though, so that's a different, the prison, military, y'all be cleaning different level. I can't say it's that, but yes, it's a ministry for some people.
But I don't think she had a self-care bone in her body. Do you?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. So that's my point. There are some people that just don't think self-care is even important. You work, you grind, you get this done, whatever. And so as a people, in terms of us and generational wellness, that is something we really have to think about. What are the reasons that we feel like we can't rest or we can't?
I mean, slavery.
We can.
Y'all better read the NAP ministry, okay?
So
Trisha Hersey, y'all got to read the book now. I saw it going around on the social medias. We've been saying we're gonna read it. Shout out to Bishop Brandon, who's been on this show many times. He like, y'all got to listen to Trisha Hersey now, because
I think it's really important now.
Ancestral right to rest. And I don't think people really like think about it like that, but our ancestors did a bunch of stuff so we wouldn't have to.
Well, I'm about to rest for the next season.
For the rest of my life. It's not even for the next season. For the rest of my life.
But that's the reason why I was saying earlier that sometimes people don't feel great even if they do practice self-care, they let those old stories and tapes start to play in their head, and they start to feel like, I know I did that, but now I'm behind, or I shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't have taken that time, or let me rethink it. For example, when we went to, it's a form of buyer's remorse, I guess. We went to Women Evolve in September, which you guys know we had a great time. It was amazing. The Women Evolve
team, the Potter's House Dallas. Shout out to y'all. Y'all did that.
All the things. So there, I was really, it wasn't cheap to be in a hotel and out and gone and whatever for 3 or 4 days. And then we had gone to a wedding before that. Mm-hmm. So now here it is, and it's Thanksgiving and holiday season and whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, I spent so much money on during that time. And then I looked at my bank account today, and I really didn't spend that much money.
For no
I really didn't spend that much. But again, the self-care that we got on that trip was worth 10 times more than whatever it was I could have spent. But you have to talk yourself into that place where you're like, that was important, and what I did was important, and it was good, and I should not agonize over it, is my point.
I be telling her that all the time.
Whatever.
In terms of self-care in this relationship, I definitely have the badge. Do you understand? Like, I'll be like,
oh yeah, she has multiple scout badges.
I'm not doing that.
I'm just working on.
Even today, I was like, I have things to do. There's a lot of things coming up, but I'm trying to be anxious about it. I'm like, just do one thing at a time. I was like, I feel like reading and chilling today. I've been with the boy, Oliver.
I know she wasn't here. Then she got home, and I was like, where have you been? What have you been doing? And when she doesn't answer me when I ask that question, I know what that means. I know that all the stuff you thought I was going to do, or I was going to do, I didn't do it.
In the words of La Roach, I did what needed to be done to be able to do this. Now, all the other laundry lists, because she's going to always have a laundry list of things to do. And I'm going to let her have her laundry list. That laundry list ain't going to pass to me, though. It's not. I mean, like, I'm going to pick this thing up and do this now. We're like, no, I'm not. And I'll be the main one. People like, I have to fight against the, like, you so lazy, you don't really care, you're not really committed. I'm like, maybe not. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not. So as we're having this discussion, right, about self-care and accountability. So how does self-care and accountability come together? Okay, so there is some research that supports that people who just take personal responsibility and accountability for their life in general, various aspects of their life, whatever that may be,
including self-care,
which includes self-care, that those individuals, you know, who are on their actions, they focus on their well-being, and just have better outcomes with things, right? Health, career, relationships. It's a theory called self-determination theory. It's called self-determination theory. Let me run that back. So, you know, we're big sort of science nerds around here. So when you take personal accountability, it's just like not another like, ooh, self-help. Shout out to Play Monroe. Self-help concept, right? It's really about learning like how do you take your personal accountability, right? And like blumptuate it. For lack of a better term. For lack of a better term. I don't know how to spell blumptuate. I just know it's a word. So psychologically, how you sort of work on this, right? We're just learning these terms. So I'm gonna be reading a little bit because the science sometimes doesn't stick.
Okay? We love it.
So it's the internal locus of control. Is that locus?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So this is like, to Pam's point, she has a lot of this, okay? The belief that you're in control over your life, okay?
Over your outcomes.
And yes, the outcomes of your life, I should say. She has a lot of that, okay? I'm a little bit more fluid. Yes, I believe I have this to a certain extent, but I also am like, some things are above me, honey, okay? And things are going to work out in some given time. But these people are really just on that self-determination. That's why self-determination theory, correct? So research shows that people who have a lot of internal like locus control, they're pretty proactive, right? They take care of things, they get things done. It's like I am the driver, okay? And not the passenger of life. Again, I think that's great in some terms. I think it's not so great in some other terms, particularly when things are happening that you have no control over, or you thought you had control over, and then things went to shit, right? Which is what people I think are feeling in the Americas, right?
Ooh,
I think
Jesus.
they what is it called again? Internal locus of control is really off, okay? Because we all thought we were doing a group project. I think some people got a little full of themselves, okay, when it comes to the election. I think people thought we didn't have to work this hard. Clear this man is crazy. He did such a terrible job last time. Ain't nobody gonna. And we all sat here last week and said, nigga, what?
Did like, we miss the memo?
Whatever. So there's that. Studies also show that people who have a strong internal locus of control, they can be happier, they can be healthier, they can be more successful. Why? Because they believe that their actions matter, right? And that what they put into action is going to pay off, right? Whether that's they're going to eat the salads, they're going to do the run. Shout out to y'all.
They're going to do the protein only. They're going to do this. They're going to work out 4 times a day. They're going to, 4 times a week. They're going to do this. They're going to go hike. They're going to.
Let me tell you who is that all day. Ollivander's father, okay? That man can ex-military, but like, for real. I admire it. I really do. I'd be like, that's so wonderful. I'm a little more with mine, but shout out to y'all that do that. Now, I think sometimes, again, everything is not in your control. So when that happens, then
you freak out. I'm telling you, you freak out.
It's literally the balance, because I'm usually the person when people start freaking out that I go, it's fine. And they be like, but I can't, and I'm like, it's fine. Like, it's going to work out. It's really not that big of a deal. So I think you need the balance. I'm not this person. So I'm whatever the opposite of this is, which I don't think we're going to talk about. But when I find out, I'll let y'all know. But this is also a skill that like you're not born with. It develops over time, right? So you can learn it. I don't know that I
was about to say, if you want to learn it. But some people are adamant about not wanting
to learn it. It's not really adamant about not wanting to learn it. I think I'm a person who has an obsessive personality, and I think to a certain extent, and I used to spend a lot of my younger years really upset, like wanting everything to be super fine, like down to like really anal. And the older I got, the more I was like, sometimes life just don't work like that. And if I expend all of my energy trying to be so anal, I'm gonna miss some stuff because I was busy trying to be anal or frustrated about it not working like that, as opposed to just being kind of like open. Like, yes, we're gonna make plans. We're gonna prep. We're gonna do the thing. We're gonna, make sure we're research. We know what's going on.
Open hand.
But then also, niggas sometimes it ain't gonna go like that. And then what are you gonna do? Right. So I just think I just have made a decision. I'm not gonna put all my energy into that. But that's just me though. So anyway, this is a muscle that you can develop, right? It's kind of like an exercise thing. The more you do it, the more you get stronger. So every time you follow through with a commitment to yourself, it's like a rep of your personal accountability muscle, right? You got it going up and down. So I hear the Christians, the real ones, not these for play niggas. Self-determination sounds like
you're going against God. Just say it. You're going against God. You are not letting Jesus take the wheel. You are not, laying down your agenda and letting, the Lord lead and guide, direct your path. You're trying to make your own way. All the things that, we say. However, that's a whole nother Oprah show. We're not going to do that show today. I'm going to leave it right here with this. Faith without works is dead. So at some point in time, even though you believe those things, and we all do, those of us who profess to be Christian, there is a balance.
That's what I'm about to say. I'm a Gemini. I'm all things
There
balance.
Is a balance.
A balance. You can't just be like, it's one thing or the other. That just seems something dangerous. So
we'll come back to that at another time.
To the internal loci control center people. Okay, there's another scientific concept, right? That was self-determination theory. Self-efficacy, okay? Not to be confused with, what is it? The chief of efficiency? Whatever.
Do you know?
Title gonna be.
I'm not gonna even talk about it. Keep going. I'll tell you later.
Self-efficacy, okay, refers to individuals or people who believe in their own capacity, right? To execute behaviors, to get things done. Like, it's really performance specific. They really believe in themselves to achieve and perform.
Yeah, we all know these people. They put it out there, they're gonna get it done. Those are the person you want. Those are the people you want on your team.
Yeah.
Those are the people we thought we had on our team last week, but surprise.
We did not.
Okay.
So self-efficacy is about like having the confidence, right? The ability to exert your control over your own motivation, your behavior, your social environment. Don't be like a tyrant though, but you know what I mean. Like you set the tone. Okay. But we don't say it like that. You set the tone for what's happening. Hopefully not too aggressively or demandingly, but like you just kind of set the tone. So it helps you be able to like really handle life's challenges when you could do that, right? You kind of end up like sometimes engaging and promoting healthier behaviors. And it gives you a sense of control of your world, right? You can build strong relationships. It helps you deal with stress. You achieve your goal. Again, I always think when we're dealing with control, we got to be a little fluid because some things are in our control and some things are very much not our control. And I think some of the dance is trying to decide which is which and when is when, so that you're not stressing from not doing anything or you overly stressed from doing too much, right? And then the last thing is cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which we've talked about before on this show numerous times. So it's just like a therapeutic approach of like how you change your thoughts, your behavior patterns. It helps with being more responsible in your actions, your well-being. So there's like really 3 C's with it. You catch it, check it, change it. So catch the thing when the thought, something is floating around. Check it. Where did this come from? Why am I having this?
Is it real? Is it not? Is it true? Am I making it up?
Change it.
Bad backstory. Okay. That's not even true anymore.
So like again,
like me having to do all the things.
These are things that you can learn to do yourself sometimes, but particularly when it comes to cognitive behavioral therapy, you should definitely have a licensed professional therapist help you do that because you gotta like tap in. You did?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. The reason I am can talk about it a little bit more or understand it a little bit more is because of the therapy that, the questions. And listen, people, the therapist is just going to ask you a lot of questions about why.
That you should really be asking yourself.
That you should be asking yourself, but you don't know how to do yet. So it's just a process. When you start out,
which is actually an added benefit of therapy. Like people are like, Jess, you so wise, you know so much. I'd be like, I'm just really good at asking questions.
Yeah.
Like, and therapy is like a place that will help you learn to do that. So the questions your therapist will ask you, eventually you'll learn to ask those questions of yourself.
And then you'll ask the people around you, and it will help them to grow as well.
Wise and stuff.
Yeah, and you'll create generational wellness if it's in your family. If you learn how to do it for yourself, and then you can ask your kids, and you can ask your grandma, you can ask your auntie and your uncle that's been doing the same crazy thing for 100 years. You can just say, dude,
can I ask you a question?
Can I ask you a question?
Can I ask you a question?
Can I ask you a question? When you say that, what are you thinking? Like, what's going on in your mind when you say that? What's it? Catch it? Like, catch that thought. Let's talk about it a little bit. Is that the truth of what's really happening here, or is there something else going on? Or is that because when y'all was 16, your sister told you she didn't like your clothes, and so now every time you come around and you're triggered if she says, I don't like that hat, or what you got on because of something that happened. So catch it, check it, change it. You know, it doesn't have to stay that way. So let's say something we've said it's convinced you that you need to take more accountability and personal responsibility for your self-care. All right, what can you expect when you start to do this, right? What's going to happen? Your self-esteem is going to improve. You're going to feel better about yourself because you're taking care of yourself. It just is a natural flow. It's a natural progression. It's just common sense. Oh, I feel better about myself because I did something to take care of myself today. All right, you're going to be resilient, greater resilience. Sometimes we don't want to be. Listen, last week I told a couple of people, I'm like, don't try to make me feel better. I ain't trying to feel better right now.
Not right now.
Right yet. I'm about going through my grief. And then when I decide to stop going through my grief, then I will do the things that I know to do that will help me. My self-care that will help me be resilient. But for 2 days, I was in the bed. I'm not going to lie. All right. So now, enhanced decision making. Taking accountability for our choices leads to more thoughtful decision making. I wish more people were able to project their choices and see where it was going to end in the long run, and they would have made more thoughtful decisions. But that's just me. Maybe they thought they did make the right decision. But anyway, when you take accountability and personal responsibility, your decision-making skills should improve because you should be more self-aware and you should be able to look at things in the long run. You should be able to look at the long game, hopefully.
Long game.
Healthier relationships, take more responsibility. You're able to have better conversations with people. Conversations are the key to life. If you can't talk to anybody about what's going on with you, with them, how they're making you feel, how you making them feel, what you could do to help this relationship improve, what I feel like I should do that. If you can't have those conversations in honesty, taking accountability for where you might have done something wrong or might have been misunderstood or might have said something that was taken the wrong way or whatever, you have to be able to take accountability and responsibility for those conversations. And if you said something that ticked somebody off, rubbed them the wrong way, you didn't mean to say it that way, don't be doing that all the time though. Don't be saying, I didn't mean to say it. I didn't mean to do that. No, if you keep doing it now, if we have 2 or 3 conversations, I should be able to make you understand what it is that you are saying and doing that is continuing to cause this problem. And then if you choose to keep continuing, then now we on something else. But
now we on something else.
That's a different show too.
Player.
But right now, I'm just trying to get you to accept accountability and responsibility for your actions, your words, your thoughts, how you communicate them so you can have a healthier relationship. And then there was this study called Very Happy People. I'm like, that's an interesting study, just very happy people, which said that people who have done this, have practiced self-care, report higher levels of satisfaction. Don't that make sense?
In life.
Across the board.
10, 10, 10, across the board.
You take better care of yourself. You have better relationships. You have better self-esteem. You have a happier life and better life satisfaction. So anyway, we, Jessica and her friends were listening to this podcast.
You're listening to the On Purpose podcast with Jay Shetty. Shout out to y'all, the whole team over there. Love that show. I watch it often. I listen to it today, but I usually watch it on YouTube. It like stays in rotation for me. So shout out to Jay Shetty. And we were watching the newest episode with Alicia Keys, which, hold on, let me see if I can get the actual title for y'all. So I was literally listening to it today.
5 something in the morning.
That was on the YouTubes though. Anyway. It's like her 5 rituals, but
5 rituals. It was really good. I listened to it too, and some of the stories about the changes she experienced when she, as a result of taking her self-care seriously, she really started taking.
5 ways to overcome self-doubt and build confidence within. That's what it says on the Spotify. It's something different on the YouTube.
Just go to Jay Shetty and Alicia Keys. That'll make you find it. But it was a really good podcast. And yes, her self-care might cost more than yours. You know, you can't go off and be on the island in wherever for a month, probably. But the principles are the same. And when you take responsibility for self-care, you do the principles at whatever level you can afford to do the principles on. So,
and granted, get you some of that soul care.
You might not be able to afford that soul care. I'm just saying, get whatever.
That's Alicia's product offering.
Yeah, I'm not trying to promote that because I don't. You know, you might have the money, you might not.
Well, I want it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, you might have the money, you might not. But either way,
see how she just.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying for people who, I don't want people to feel like self-care.
Money should be no object when it comes to self-care. Okay, if you have money and you want to spend money on things, but there are things you can do that are self-care oriented that don't necessarily require you to spend money. It's the point that she's making.
Right.
Why she also just shitted on my drink. That's okay.
I didn't shit on your drink.
Keep on.
I just was saying.
Keep on.
You know.
You might have the money, you might not.
Yeah.
That is shitting on someone's drink. But go ahead.
To me, that is accountability and responsibility.
It's also shitting on someone's drink. However she would call it.
Anyway, listen, this is what you're looking to do. When you take responsibility for your self-care, it's going to have a ripple effect throughout your whole life, throughout all the people that you're connected to. And you know, that's what we're about. How is it going to affect you, your family, the culture? How when you make a change, does it affect the rest of the people that you are connected to in your sphere of influence? So, for example, this accountability and self-care you role model that. You role model it for your kids. They learn by example. When the parents prioritize self-care, they teach their children the importance of self-respect and healthy boundaries. And that's going to be really important going forward in the future. I'm just saying. All right. The communication, we talked about that. Communication is the key to healthy lives, healthy families, healthy relationships in the workplace, at school, wherever you go. If you cannot communicate, you are going to have problems. If you're not effective, if you can't communicate effectively, you're going to have problems. All right. You have more energy. When you take time for the self-care, you do really rejuvenate. I have found that. I used to not believe it 100%. I used to say I'm going to be behind, but I have really found that taking time for the self-care rejuvenates you, gives you a higher energy level, and you're able to be more present and more engaged in whatever else you're doing. Cuts down on the conflicts because you're not so tired, you're not so snappy, you're not so irritable all the time. The rest is there. And it reduces the conflict because of that. And then it enhances your work performance. So your productivity is better once you get around to doing that. Alicia talked a lot about her kids and how they watch
Egypt and Genesis.
How they watch
and the
her
rest of the blended family.
And her meditation and her praying practices, and how important that was for them to then start doing their own kind of self-management and self-care.
Yeah, it was really interesting episode because she's just talking about her journey in general, about like things that she's learned in terms of like when she was younger, she didn't feel like she could necessarily trust the people around her to not hurt her. So dealing with that. She talked about dealing with lack, like when she first started making money, feeling like there was never going to be enough of it. Things were going to run out, right? So she just kind of went through like her journey of just her career and as
the
wife
journaling.
and a mother.
Listen,
journaling,
she talked about the journaling because when she was younger, it was hard for her to get her words out,
herself.
to get her
and
words
out.
We
all about the journaling.
We've been telling y'all that for 2 years. Okay, so get the journal, do the thing. All right.
And then she talked about the self-care practices, about like, again, giving herself all the excuses of, I'm a mom, I'm a working mom, I'm a this, I'm a that. And she really kind of landed the plane where she was like, if I'm not taking care of me, I don't know how I could be good for anybody else. So she realized that even in the wanting to control all the outputting you're doing to try to be the best for said thing, presentation, relationship thing, you could really knock yourself out the box completely, right? And not accomplish a thing that you're even trying to accomplish because you're not taking care of yourself. Also something that I love that Jay Shetty said.
Yeah, I love that too. I wrote that down in big notes.
While we were talking about just self-care, that's just not, product offerings, which Alicia has a soul care regimen and routine, and like she has all these products that she's created to be on your skin and take care of your body. Product offerings,
not even product offerings, just offerings
that she said they call them product offerings, but that you can put on your body, and there's affirmations with them to like really remind yourself to do the internal work while you're doing the external work. But they were also talking about a number of things having to do with your internal work. And so one of the things that Jay Shetty said, who is a former monk, by the way, that he said that a lot of times him and Alicia were talking about, like, do you really like grapple with yourself? Like if you mess up or not giving yourself grace in certain arenas and at different times, depending on what the things are. And Jay Shetty was saying that guilt actually stops growth. He was like, I think a lot of times we think we can guilt ourselves into growing, but most of the time guilt stops our growth, because at least in my opinion, I feel like I'm so busy beating myself up that I don't have any energy to expend on growth, right? But also I'm teaching myself that I'm not worthy of it because I'm so guilty, right? He also says shame doesn't shift. So the more that you experience shame is constantly like robbing and like taking things from you. So you're never going to get to a point where you can guilt or shame yourself enough to grow or shift. And that judgment doesn't lead to transformation. If you're judging yourself, you're not leaving yourself alone enough to gain the resilience, learn the lessons, take the inventory of what you can do, because you're so busy in these sort of negative spirals of guilt, shame, judgment that you're missing the opportunity to grow, shift, and transform.
And then the one that other one that really hit me really hard was when he said, when you judge somebody else, you take away their power.
Actually, Alicia said this, which I thought was brilliant, because she was talking about being a mom.
Yeah.
And she was saying that sometimes, she said Genesis, Genesis can be really hard on himself.
Yeah.
And she was saying that talk to you nice, right? Like talk to yourself nice.
Speak to yourself nice.
Speak to yourself nice. Get your self-care. That's a part of your self-care routine as well, as how you speak to yourself. But she was saying that as a parent, she said, I realized, and she's like, we do this as adults, but like when someone has a decision to make about something, or they are trusting their instincts and doing something, we have the power to take away their ability to trust themselves because we're judging them about the thing, right? So, in their most, excited state, they might have decided to like write this song and do this thing, and then they read it to you and you're like, you should work on that more. It could be in love or constructive criticism, but sometimes people end up getting deflated when we immediately bring our opinions, or you should work on this, or you should do a thing, or you should do this. What are they doing? Oh, Reasonable Doubt. If y'all watch that show, there's a scene where Jax, it's a flashback. Jax was trying to help her husband on a presentation earlier in their marriage, and he started doing it. He wasn't like coming across super confident. She's a lawyer, so she know how to like talk and get
land the plane,
right? And he's a gamer, so he just kind of started doing a presentation, and she was like, "You're not giving me confidence. Like you're not so." Trying to be helpful, but he was like, you don't have to be so hard all the time, Jax. Like sometimes you're just hard. And I think that's something to what Alicia was talking about sometimes we can just be hard on each other, hard on ourselves, and trying to combat that, right? And if you think about it, especially when she's talking about her kids, like families are kind of like little delicate ecosystems. So the way that you are treating yourself, talking to yourself, et cetera, the little people that you're raising or are up under you, watching you. So when you that the pendulum swings both ways, whether you're doing negative things or things that are harmful to you, or you're doing positive things, right? It's like the accountability is in how you're taking care of yourself, and then how are the people around you watching you do that, right? So like Alicia talks about the meditation thing. She's like, I used to make Egypt meditate with me. She's like, he's a little older now. I can't really make him do it. She's like, Genesis does it sometimes. She said, but I know they know the words for my meditation. So if they decide to meditate with me, they can. If they meditate on their own, she also, really has them practicing gratitude. So she was like, I just always, remind them to be gracious. Thank God for the blessings that they have. Pray. She was like, but I don't force it down their throat. I just kind of do it. And then, sometimes they do it on their own. But I had to force them at first, but then I'm trying to get them to like see that is what they need to do on their own. And so things like that really can have like a ripple effect, right? Like she was saying, Swiss is really like, if Swiss gonna come with that high energy all the time, and he just excited to be spontaneous and do things. And she's like, I'm a little bit more like, let's plan the thing. She's like, I'm excited about the idea, but let's like plan the thing and like make sure it actually happens by like setting order and structure. And she's like, we don't fight about that. We just accept each other's differences, right? So that's a thing. They were like, we don't argue. They was like, we might get heated, we might have a disagreement, but we don't yell, shout, throw things. Like she was like, we just choose to disengage in that chaos, right? So those are just some things that she was talking about, but all of that really tie into, we thought were great points about how we feel about how you create generational wellness, right? You have things that you value, you love, you appreciate as a person that are your values or your system of how you work. And then you share those things with other people. Hopefully y'all come to some agreement or be on the same page or agree to disagree, but do it respectfully. You dig? So saying all that to say, check out that On Purpose episode with Jay Shetty and a lot of Jay Shetty's episodes. They're all really great. He's amazing, incredible minds and great people. And there's just really good conversations.
I don't think I knew he used to be a monk. I think you told me that before, but then I forgot. But he is so like,
he's like a full monk. And then he decided that he didn't want to do that anymore. And he got married and fell in love. And his wife has an incredible podcast as well. So like they just have really great conversations. And it's a really cool community. So check them out, send them love. Tell them Create Generational Wellness Century if you have no idea. It's like the #1 health and wellness podcast. But sometimes people don't be knowing. So anyway, so we're just going to challenge you this week, okay? As we are pushing into more self-care, especially if you're in the North Americas, right? Like we're just going to go hard on this, okay? To just be more accountable to ourselves and to others. So just making sure we talk about these kind of things as you're setting goals, right? Make sure you're being very clear, very specific. Don't just be like, I want to do 18 things. Just pick one. I just want to walk this week. I'm going to walk, 2 times this week. That's my goal. I'm going to keep that goal and see how it affects me, right?
My goal is to not listen to the news more than an hour.
Oh, that's a good goal. I was just saying that out the blue, but
no, it's serious for me. I just started back doing that maybe yesterday or today because I was off the news for like almost a week. But I was like, all right, I need to know, how soon I need to get out of here, or whatever. But I was like, okay, an hour a day, but that's it. Because that's what I need to do for my self-care and to be accountable and responsible to me to not get overwhelmed.
Yeah, I think mine was, I was just saying that as an example for y'all. And I have been walking this week though, because I have the little boy. So that has helped me with that goal. But mine was just really like leaning into self-care. I was very tired, very drained last week from the results. Though I expected it, it's still a gut punch. We also had a family situation going on, so I was just very emotionally drained. So I like really leaned into my community. I watched a lot of things that made me laugh, right? Like those were things. It's just very simple things. But I was very specific about like, if I start feeling down, I'm gonna just do something that brings me joy instead, right? You can create a schedule around whatever your planned activities, right? Like me and the little boy, he has to be walked 3 times a day. So I'll walk him in the morning. He has someone who comes and takes him to the park and plays with him during the day, and then I walk him at night. That's our daily routine, right? Now, when I'm here by myself, that's going to look a little different based on what I got going on. But I love when I get to watch him because it helps me stay on schedule because he got to be on the schedule, okay? Make sure you track your progress of what you're doing, whether that's a journal, an app. I love having the fitness ring on my iPhone. Some days I hit that thing, some days I don't, but I can at least see my progress, right? Practice self-compassion, okay? Don't give yourself grace. Don't beat yourself up. Talk to yourself.
Yeah,
speak to yourself nice, right?
A lot.
You gotta have grace. One of the things that I love that she said is like, just give yourself more credit, right? Like you're not trying to be a bad person. You not trying to not put your best foot forward, but you might be super tired that day, or maybe you didn't get enough sleep, or you just having a bad week or a bad day or a bad month, right? But things will continue to evolve and change. But if you just in that space, just be in that space and allow yourself to be able to feel those feels and walk towards whatever the new thing is, right? But don't just be so hard on yourself all the time. Seek support, right, with these goals. Share them with your family, your friends, your coach, your therapist, right? Whoever those people are that you know will like rally around you and hold you accountable, really, to be like, did you actually do the walk thing? Did you actually edit that thing? Are you actually working on that? Where are we with this? And it doesn't have to always be like combative, right? It's just checking in, right? Making sure you doing the thing you said you was gonna do. And then just reflect regularly. Take time to assess, like maybe that goal is gonna change, right? Or maybe you've done the thing and you're like, that was cool. I feel like I need to move on to something else, right? Or maybe you think that goal is gonna serve you and you feel like it's way more of a headache than it's worth. So you like, I need to change it, right? So just don't be so like rigid in your approach to these things. Just kind of feel the things out, see where you are, see what fits you. And don't be afraid to make the adjustments, right? And just take the time to see if what you want. It's like a science experiment, right? You have a hypothesis about your self-care, you try it, and then you get to the conclusion, and it might not be what you thought. So if that self-care thing didn't work,
change something.
Go back to the drawing board and try something else, right?
And it might not be a whole big wipe the drawing board out. It might just be a little tweak.
Thing. It might be like,
maybe I need a little more of this and a little less that, or a little more. But try.
It's not an exact science. You might have to tinker a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? You just gotta try something.
I found this week now watching the news. I've had more time to reflect. Mm-hmm. I've been reflecting a lot on a lot of things. Some of it gives me a little bit of anxiety, but I found that I'm able to kind of talk myself.
Take your time and your energy back.
Yep, take it back.
And I like peace, quiet, and time. So whenever I'm able to be at my friend's house, I like the peace, the quiet, the maintenance of the peace. Okay, yes. Which is important. So that's my accountability, to be like, just lean into this piece, because it's not gonna be like that next week. So you gotta like go with it while you can.
It's not gonna be like that for me either next week. So
I didn't know about you specifically, but this environment isn't always set up for peace.
Yeah. But listen, when you live with more than you, honestly, when you live with more than, if you don't live by yourself, there are going to be times that in your house, there's going to be adjustments. You're going to have to make adjustments. If it's 2 people, if it's 3 people, God forbid, if it's 6 people, I don't know. It's only the 3 of us, and we have to make a lot of adjustments. So I can't imagine what it would be like to have 7 or 8 people in the house. But again,
shout out to y'all that are figuring it out.
Yes, indeed. But again, learn how to do it. And sometimes that may mean getting away or creating a space that feels like it's away. Or,
come on staycation,
going to the library, doing whatever it is you need to do to have that time to be quiet and to reflect.
Yourself.
That is a form of self-care. So,
and not feeling guilty about it. I think that's also like the key thing. And I'm gonna be real. When you first start doing this, you will feel guilty. Like all them voices we was talking about earlier, they're gonna be there. But then you just gotta be like Jay Shetty, Alicia Keys, and
screaming at
and Truthful Chats.
What are you doing? You're not doing anything. That's the way the ones in my head. And I just
be like, okay.
The ones in my head.
It's fine. Like, and they keep talking, and I just be like, I'm not gonna do that.
To learn how to.
I'm not gonna do
sit
that.
Sit down, like you tell the dog. Sit. You gotta learn how to tell all the craziness in your head to sit. So anyway, accountability and self-care are definitely interconnected. When you take the responsibility for your well-being, you empower yourselves to lead a healthier life. And that's what we want for you. We want you to lead a healthier life. We want you to help your families lead a healthier life. Mm-hmm. And, to keep it 100, it's going to be challenging, like Jessica said, but the benefits far
long-term
benefits of your self-care practices are generational. You teach it to your kids, your kids teach it to their kids. If you can go back and teach it to the generation before you a little bit, you would be amazed. I think I've told you this, but just briefly, my brothers and sisters are all like almost 20 years older than I am. So there's a lot of things that I've been able to, share with them. I was able to share with my mom before she passed away that, they just didn't do them. I was the one that started saying, I love you every time you hang up the phone, or when you talk to somebody, okay, I love you, love you. It's like, they didn't do that. You know what I mean? So there's just simple things you could start doing in your family that maybe nobody else thought about before. But you're being accountable for some of the care that you need. It was important to me to hear, I love you, or to say I love you. And so sometimes, like we say all the time, you are the agent of change you're looking for.
And it's going to make people uncomfortable, and they may make fun of you or whatever, but you got to just, sort of stay the course, because, again, you are the change agent you've been waiting on. So if you're waiting on somebody else to come do it, or like, there was many times Alicia was like, I just had to realize that nobody going to save me. Like, as much as I would love for somebody to put up a boundary for me, or
tell that person to get out,
tell that person to get out of my life, or
whatever,
pick me up and put me in the bath. Like, if I don't do it, no one else is going to do it. And you will be the one that's stressed and burnt out and cranky. And you going to have an uncomfortable life experience. And that will be no one's, problem but your own. So choose you at the end of the day. I think that's really what we're saying.
All right. So let's do it. You work on it. We're going to work on it. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to set ourselves on a path to continually grow, find out those patterns that lead us to maintaining and sustaining and creating generational wellness, and being accountable and responsible for our self-care, because that's the first step.
Period, Pooh. Well, thank y'all so much for joining us. We hope you got a lot out of this episode. Again, please go watch the On Purpose, because there were just so many gems and so many great conversations about all kinds of things: career, art, trusting yourself, believe in yourself, kicking people out of your life that don't need to be there, all that kind of thing.
So funny too, that was self-care for me.
Kicking people out of your life?
No, self-care was watching the episode, because it's almost 90 minutes, and a part of me kept saying, you don't have time to sit here and watch this whole thing for 90 minutes. And then I said, well, what else do you have to do? That
something that she want to make up that's more important
is not. There's nothing that you have to do right now that's more nourishing to your soul than what you're doing right now. Your soul is being nourished by listening to this. And once I said that to myself and convinced myself of it, I just kind of settled down, and it was just great.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
Podcasts are a good time.
Yeah.
So, speaking of which, if you are loving this podcast, we hope that you will subscribe on YouTube, follow us on IG, Facebook, fan base. We're at Create Generational Wellness on all of the platforms. And
on the Apples and the Spotify.
No. We're at Create Generational Wellness if you're following us on social media. Okay. Truthful Chats is what you want to type into your Spotify's, your Apple Musics,
I don't think we
your
say that enough.
Amazons. I know it's all coming in the new year.
Truthful Chat on Apple and Spotify.
We're Truthful Chats on your podcasting platforms, but on our social media platforms, we are at Create Generational Wellness. Okay. And yeah, if you type in Truthful Chats and at Create Generational Wellness on YouTube, we'll pop up for you. But that's why we are 2 more episodes away from taking our break. Once we reach 100 episodes, we're taking a mini break. Our goal is to be back in January, so that we can just get our marketing together. We could come together with better visuals, better sound. We just decided to start. Shout out to Dave Shands in the morning meetup and that whole crew who are just start making podcast episodes, and you'll figure out the rest along the way. So we feel like 100 let you know we serious, we in it to win it. We're here, we're committed, but now we want to be sure to elevate the experience. So we got 2 more. This was 98. We got 99, 100, and once we reach 100, we will be taking a baby break. But then we'll be back. Yeah. Oh, the baby. Let me tell you who is. Come here, Oliver. Let me tell you who is the king of self-care.
Oliver
is this baby right here. He's scratching. Can you stand up at me real quick? If you are watching Look at this little boy. This is Ollivander. He is the king of self-care. Okay. So if ever you like, what does self-care look like? This baby right here. Because he just decides he's the most spoiled child. And we love him dearly. So anyway, we will see y'all next week. Oh, the baby. We love y'all so much. And
have a good one.
Bye. Ollivander.